A trader proposes and the market disposes. Well, that's the kind of tug of war that is happening at the 18,000 level for our Nifty futures. Traders, a very good evening. We are on the 16th of November. It's a Tuesday evening, 5 minutes past 8 p.m. And 137 points is what the index gave away in today's session, closing just at the 18K mark. I think we should go down to the 75-minute time frame. That's the key time frame which we've been analyzing closely, especially for Nifty 50. So it's all over the place. It is indeed confusing. I think I used the word tricky in my yesterday's video. And frustrating, yes, indeed, frustrating. Stop loss is getting hit on either side. Yes, I can very well understand that. But that's how sideways volatile markets are. The best way to deal with these kind of sideways ambiguous volatile markets is, number one, either don't trade and just observe for some clarity in terms of the trend, or if you're extremely compulsive and you need to be in the game, you've been in the market far enough time for not to sit on your backyard, I think a better strategy would be to trade lesser quantity, just to dip your fingers, stay in the game, but not to take too much risk. And of course, it will not even give you too much reward. That's okay. It's just for the heck of being in the game and not making or losing. Let's talk about the Nifty now. Not a good close. Not a good close. In fact, this was the zone today afternoon wherein it was bouncing from the 18K. It was holding 18K. It was trying to give a move, and the afternoon hour and a half was a complete giveaway. So we've been talking about 18,150 as the resistance. It worked once here, twice over here, and so we have a resistance, and it stays. Let me mark it. Let me give it some respect with some nice red color. And we are stuck in this, as you can see, range bound market. 17,650, 17,750 was the range which was respected once, and this was a freakish trade, but we'll take it. So this is the immediate support. We have a confluence of VWAPs, nice and easy, rising up and coming right over there. So if this fall continues, yes, the possibility of 650, 750 is definitely there on the cards. Highly possible. The moving averages, over here I'm using the 1334. Every time it turns up, it kind of dissipates and vice versa, and that's how a trading range develops. Moving averages do not work as crossovers, so we have to wait for the trend to show some stability. On the upside, stability comes only above 18,150. On the downside, it will be difficult to say right now because we are now midway the range. We have to fall all the way down there, and then we can see whether 350, 450 comes or not. That's a long story, but for the time being, I think fasten your seatbelts, buckle up, use your intelligence, and not get pulled into the market to trade compulsively. Stay away from it if it's possible. It's better not to trade and lose. But stock specific movements, as I was discussing last night, they do continue. We've noticed how wonderfully Maruti has bounced back today, and auto stocks overall, especially four-wheelers, did pretty good. Nifty levels, we just discussed, 18,150 on the upside. Unless it's taken out, I wouldn't suggest to go long aggressively. Bank Nifty is another index which, as we were discussing yesterday, was not looking good, and it's still not looking good. I think I have drawn a little bit of info line over here just to notice that it has already fallen a little above 8% from its recent highs, all-time highs. That's a pretty decent correction for the Bank Nifty. If you see the movement that we have had since April this year, and if I quickly drop some info lines for you, this was 7.5. This was around 5.5. these will not be that big enough. This is also should be in the 5 years, 5.5. So 5.5, 7.5 kind of corrections is what at max the index has given, and now we are looking at the maximum degree of correction from the index on a high-low basis, on a high to low basis. This correction, this pretty meteor correction that we've had early this year, was on a high to low basis around 19%. Okay, so we'll keep this in mind. Bank Nifty levels, recent swing lows, which kind of confluences nicely with the previous swing highs. This is around the 38,000, 38,200 zone. I think I should write them down. It will be easier for us to remember. This 38,000 and 38,300. So give me a minute, and so that I can quickly go to the text and say 38,000 to 38,300 below bottom right is a good place. The good thing about Bank Nifty is a little bit of fall, and it is blessed with a lot of confluence of swing lows and highs and nice volume profile. So lot of zones of support for the Bank Nifty. It doesn't look like an index which has significant leg room on the downside. So I think it will try its best to give us bounce backs. An important thing will be whether those bounces sustain or not. 75-minute time frame of the Bank Nifty is not a pretty picture at all. Let me just delete this info line. It's a nice downtrend. It will start to probably give us some kind of divergence. Nothing as of now on the charts. Maybe some divergence towards the 38,000 mark. If we get that, we might get a short-term bounce back. On the upside, clearly remember this small little rectangle that we had drawn. This is your resistance. It stays as your resistance close to that psychological 39,000. This is 38,900 to 39,000. Keep it red so that we know which one is resistance and which one is support. So not a pretty picture for the Bank Nifty. The sectoral indices, auto did exceptionally well thanks to Maruti. Small caps, it's just 0.5% up, and IT also just 0.5%. Rest of all the sectors were negative. PSU banks corrected quite a bit. I think you will see a bit of divergence. Clearly double divergence is shaping up right over there, which is evident on the chart of SBI. Pharma, energy, that's Reliance. Reliance was one stock which was weak. Let's go to the top stocks. Reliance was one stock which was weak today, right from the very opening. I did closely notice this counter, and it actually fell close to 3%, 2.7%. Pattern traders might get a little excited, and they might start to visualize left shoulder, big head, small right shoulder, maybe, who knows. I'm not much into pattern trading, though I observe them, but Reliance got some good supports, no doubt. This level of around 2450 to 2475, 2450, I should start marking them 2475 now that I make these videos regularly. 2450, 2475 is a good support for the stock, below which we have the recent lows, which is around 2375, and the VWAP is close there. We can drop a volume profile also just to quickly notice where are the range of the chunks of volume. And okay, there you go, we can see a nice 3 chunks here. 2460, 2360, 2460, not bad. This low and this low, this is the zone which is nicely, the VWAP is kind of nicely rising right up there. And then we have pretty lower levels. Let's not go there, let's not scare ourselves right now. But top stocks, mostly negative. When you have Reliance as one of the biggest loser amongst the top 17 stocks, you know that the index will be down significantly, and that's exactly what happened. Followed by State Bank of India. Do not do anything right now in State Bank. In fact, I would like to take a look at the Heikened charts also, which gives me a better understanding of which are these stocks which are falling and might slow down, or is slowing down. SBI definitely no. Sun Pharma is stuck. Very difficult to trade this kind of stock right now. I wouldn't touch it right now, but it has some strength. Tata Steel, we've spoken about it. Breakdown, delivered. Follow through is delivered. iBank is a disappointment. And this zone, which was holding okay, but never delivered. iBank can be that stock which can help the Bank Nifty when the Bank Nifty finds supports and bounce. I think so. I'm going to keep it. You can see a green tag given to iBank. I'm going to go for it when it allows me, but not at this juncture. Maybe a slightly lower price. HDFC is not weakened that much. It's holding its ground pretty well. It's a relatively stronger counter. ITC is also doing the same. Maybe a short-term correction that we have here can give us some movement. Bharti Airtel is a very strong counter. Let it come down. This should act as the support now for the stock. HDFC Bank moved into a downtrend, is now dealing with its September lows. Some kind of divergences is definitely kicking in here. I'll wait for a day or two, maybe next week. Hindustan Unilever is in this base building formation down here. The ones which showed strength, it was Maruti. I think we were talking about Maruti and iBank, if I'm not mistaken, in these videos, and the stock really moved today with beautiful momentum throughout the day, especially in the afternoon. Tata Motors delivered you the much needed breakout on the upside. I think it should sustain, it should do good. And then odd stocks like Infosys, Larsen and TCS. Larsen I think is getting ready for a short-term drop very soon, maybe tomorrow or day after. As you can see, the top 17 stocks, most of them negative, few of them just positive. The markets have moved back into that pit of high volatility, and we should be careful whether you are biased towards the long side, whether you are biased towards the short side, whatever is your bias. Keep a layer of cautiousness on top of that. As we create this video, SGX is down 25 points. It's now below that 18k mark on SGX. Dow Jones manages a bounce back. Surprise! I was expecting that this stock, this index, will slow down, but not that as of now. 150 odd points, 13 points for the S&P 500. Looking at the smaller time frames, I will look at the hourly time frame of Dow Jones, and I will quickly. Okay, this is quite interesting because I was of the expectation that this low, as you can see, this is hourly chart of Dow Jones. These lows broken down, resistance, and excuse me, I was expecting a follow through on the downside. Let's see, it all depends on today's close. Now let's quickly, as always, go to the Iris Plus software and quickly scan the Nifty 200 universe to find if something stands out for tomorrow. We need to be careful, but let's check. Amongst the inside bars, let me drag it to the left hand side. Amongst the inside bars, we have IGL, SBI Card. IGL is a downtrending stock which is bouncing back, so one should keep a bearish view on this. Looks promising for a downside breakdown. SBI Card is at supports, very close to supports, and maybe can weaken. Muthoot Finance is not the best of inside bars. Both today and yesterday's bar is pretty long. Bajaj Holding is a strong counter inside bar indeed, but not much there to act upon. I think within the inside bars, SBI Card and IGL, especially IGL, stands out. Bullish on the bearish Harami pattern. This is not a very good bullish Harami pattern because the size of the red candle and the green candle is almost similar. That shouldn't be the case. This cannot be a bearish Harami pattern because both the bars are negative. Polycab, two small bars. ISEC, no, it's a flat trend. Torrent Power, yes, it is a nice, good looking bearish Harami pattern. Nice symmetry amongst the two candlesticks, and it does offer us some bit of divergence also on the top. So yes, a break below today's low for Torrent Power can give us a short-term movement. Larsen, no. RBL Bank, not enough short-term downtrend. Planned, no, because size of the red candle is relatively larger. Pidilite is in a range-bound activity. PL is a 3-bar correction. Small nice bar here at supports. Interesting, but you see there's no trend. It's completely flat. So nothing much in it. Asian Paints can be a good counter. It's in a downtrend. It's giving us a second bounce back, and it has created a bullish bearish Harami pattern. The only disappointing thing in this pattern is the range of today's candlestick. is way too much. I think Torrent Power was the one which stands out the best. Theoretically, it actually is pretty clean. Breakout candidates, it's not a good market to chase breakouts, but nevertheless, we can get the breakouts on the downside also. As I'm just clicking through them, if I find anything that meets the eye, that catches my attention, I'm essentially scanning here. Low volume, low contraction. Oil, don't know, it's not a very good stock to trade, good for investment. No, actually BHL was a good one yesterday, and it has further contracted today, so one can look at it. No, not much. There's not much in terms of breakout for tomorrow, and that's not the kind of markets either. Oracle, Gland, no range expansion. Excuse me. Bajaj Auto possible. Not a bad small spinning top doji kind of a pattern. It's an underperformer, please remember this. So even if you trade, it should be short term in nature. On the short side, I would be more than happy to go for those which are showing signs of weakness in a downtrend. Natco Pharma definitely weak. Nothing much. SBI card also comes in, but not really much of in terms of the Oracle system suggesting any strong stocks. But yes, I would say amongst the inside bar, IGL and IGL was the one which was fairly convincing, and SBI card also. So not a good picture for us. I wouldn't say bearish, but I would say that confusion and volatility is something that we have to probably deal with it a little further. Please take care of yourselves and your trades also. Better not to trade, or if you're trading, trade less. Lesser risk, lesser reward is always better than facing this kind of volatility. Trade well, please. Take care. Good night.